I'm Doug Dunbar. I live in Hermon, outside of Bangor. I'm employed at Eastern Maine Development Corporation in Bangor, a nonprofit. You know, I grew up in Bangor, and I tell people it was sort of an idyllic upbringing. I didn't drink. My friends really didn't drink. In high school, I was the kid who drove people so that the few that did want to drink had someone to safely get them around and get them home at night. Even in college, I went to college at Holy Cross College in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I drank some, but I never really liked the taste of it. My drinking actually began when the terrorist attacks occurred on September 11th, 2001. So I was raised with that sort of ethic and those values. And so I wanted my job, my career, to be about helping people. So I wanted to combine this interest in government and politics with helping folks. So on September 11th, 2001, when I was working for John in Washington, that was when I began drinking. But there's something to my story that predates all of that, which is that from my earliest recollections as a child, I suffered from 2 mental illnesses that I told no one about. Not my parents, not my 2 sisters. I had a loving family, great people, but I didn't want to tell them that I was the mentally ill kid. And I knew that I suffered from mental illness from an early age. Obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and anxiety disorder. And I just found ways to manage. But on September 11th, 2001, when the terrorist attacks occurred, my symptoms went out of control. And the next night, literally the next night, I was having dinner with a friend at a restaurant when the restaurants reopened the next day. And we drank a lot of wine. I realized this will help. And so I began truly to self-medicate, very privately, very quietly. I started with a bottle of vodka because I didn't like the taste of alcohol, but I found that if I put enough lemon or lime or orange in the glass with the fizzy water and the vodka, I could get it down. Literally the way you would think of trying to get down bad tasting medicine. So that was what it was like initially. And I used this medicine really when I felt like I needed it. So it might have been a couple of times a week. My family and friends and coworkers and employers still knew nothing about the mental illnesses, knew nothing about the self-medicating. And what I didn't think about when I began using alcohol in that way is that there were plenty of alcoholics in my family. You know, I became an alcoholic, I think not too long, or I began drinking out in an alcoholic fashion, not long after I started. But I was meticulous about hiding everything, the mental illness, the self-medicating. And then I was able to conceal my first few encounters with law enforcement. I had not been stopped yet for OUI. I hadn't had any encounters with law enforcement. But I knew that I had a drinking problem at the time. So by the time my legal problem started, I had moved on from being Deputy Secretary of State to being a Deputy Commissioner in another department. And again, I thought with that first stop for OUI in Wells, Maine, that everyone would find out. They didn't. They also didn't find out when I received a summons for OAS, operating after suspension. They didn't find out on my 3rd arrest or my 4th arrest. I became the poster child of what can happen when you allow these issues related to alcohol and driving to snowball. All the things I had, cautioned people about I did, and have experienced the consequences. This all came to a head on my sixth arrest. Not until my sixth arrest did it all fall apart and did people find out. That occurred in October of 2017, approaching 3 years ago. My sixth arrest, this time in Bangor, and it was clear to me that this wasn't going to be an overnight thing. My sixth arrest, this time I spent 4.5 months in jail. And I was released in March of 2018 to enter the Penobscot County Adult Drug Treatment Court, drug court. I spent 15 months there in the program. You go home, but you're part of this drug court program. And 15 months later, I graduated, and I'm reaching into my pocket now for my prop. I carry this coin around every day. When you graduate from a drug-courted Maine, you get this very nice coin, and I do carry it every day as a reminder of what I learned and what I've been through. I'm blessed today to work in a job where I'm able to help people, others who are in drug court currently, both in Penobscot County and in other counties. My journey to recovery started before I stopped drinking. After, I don't even remember, my third arrest maybe, my second OUI, I know that, I turned to my employer's, the state of Maine's, Employee Assistance Program, EAP. And I said, I called the number and I said, I need help. I don't want anyone to know, but I need help. So I did get connected with a mental health counselor in Bangor, and we quickly agreed that I would need medication for my OCD and anxiety, that these were so ingrained in me and part of me that talk therapy with a counselor wasn't going to be adequate. I would stop drinking. It seemed like a good plan. However, I was too far gone in terms of my alcoholism to give up the drinking. I made attempts, but I obviously wasn't successful. So getting mental health care, which I advocate for a lot of people I meet these days who seek recovery or are in recovery. So many of us do suffer, I believe, from co-occurring disorders, a term I wasn't familiar with until I got into recovery. But there is a lot of hope, and there are a lot of ways to heal. And for me, it's been through mental health care, being active in the recovery community. My friend Lee knew about my newfound passion for helping people who are either trying to be in recovery or are in early recovery or are re-entering communities from jails and prisons. And he said, Doug, we have a division within EMDC that works with people who have challenges in moving forward with education, training, and ultimately meaningful employment. And I said, sign me up. And I've been with EMDC for well over a year now. And I am so fortunate that my work not only hopefully helps these individuals, but it certainly helps my own recovery. In talking with these young guys, I realized even if they know there is help out there, they don't know how to connect with it. They don't know how to, sign up for services. So fortunately, the work that I do nowadays is to help these individuals connect with the services that are out there. And the hopeful part is there are services in the greater Bangor area. We are really fortunate to have the Bangor Area Recovery Network, the BARN, and many other 12-step programs and 12-step meetings in the area along with many other services and providers. Well, my life today is dramatically different. I don't wake up every morning feeling ill, which I did many or most mornings before I went to jail. I don't wake up wondering what crazy messages did I send through my work email or my personal email. What obnoxious things did I write on Facebook the night before? Because toward the end, I was blacking out and doing things that I would not remember the next day. There were a couple of occasions near the very end when my boss, the commissioner of a department, would send me an email in the morning and say, "Hey, can I talk with you about that message you left on my office phone last night?" And I would have no recollection. I worked in government for 30 years. I'm not sure I ever gave much thought to people who were suffering from addiction, who were incarcerated, who were trying to get their life together, in early recovery. I'm not sure that I gave these populations, which I'm a part of, much thought. So I'm trying to make up a lost time, in a sense, try to reach out to businesses and other employers to say people in recovery can be an asset. I tell people I am a much, much better person and employee now than when I was hiding my drinking and my work was suffering and I was not fully engaged with what I was doing. Today, because of all of the problems that I caused myself, for me, a full, hopeful recovery is about having purpose and contributing and staying in contact with people.